Well, I've been a bad boy. Hey guys, welcome back to the DrCliffAuD vlog. This is vlog number 250, and today I want to talk to you guys about some disagreements that I get into with people on the internet. But before I do me a huge favor, click the like button and subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on so you get a notification every single time I publish a new video. It is greatly appreciated. That being said, okay, here's the deal. I tend to have an opinion about a lot of things. I mean, shocker, right? I'm an influencer. I create video content where I literally talk to an inanimate camera and pretend that it's a human being that I'm talking to. Because yeah, I'm talking to you. Nevertheless, on social media, and particular Facebook, there's a lot of Facebook forums and all of that, and today I'm particularly talking about my stance on tinnitus, and particularly the Lenire tinnitus treatment device. Now, if you go on any social media platform, I don't care which one that it is, and you start finding a group of people with tinnitus who are talking about Lenire and bimodal neuromodulation, 99.9% of them are basically just talking crap. Right? Like they're basing their opinions based off of what they heard someone else say, and who are the most likely people to leave a negative review about something? It's someone who had a negative experience. So there was someone who posted an innocent post on one of these Facebook group forums that was basically saying, hey guys, have any of you heard about something called bimodal neuromodulation? Apparently this Lenire device uses it, and there's some mixed results. And of course, again, 99% of the comments are like, Lenire's a scam, it doesn't work, there's no research supporting it, there's just anecdotal reporting of benefit by a few people, it's not approved in Europe, it's only approved in the United States, and the FDA is biased, and so they're not really looking out for consumers, and it can ultimately kill you as a device, it'll electrocute you, like all this stuff, and I'm just like, none of this is based on any kind of factual information. And so what I typically do in this case is I try to be nice about it, but I usually post some links to research. Because here's the thing, all of the perspectives that I have and that I share about on my channel are based off of actual research or based off of my experience in the clinic, where I'm seeing hundreds of people with hearing loss and tinnitus every single year. And of course, it's going to start skewing my perceptions as to what effective treatments are for hearing loss and tinnitus and what ineffective treatment options are for hearing loss and tinnitus. But you know, there was one particular individual who took offense to me saying that, like, hey, the things that you're saying aren't really true. If you look at the research, you can find out what actually is going on with the Lenire device. And I get that all research has the potential to be biased. All research has some inherent flaws in it. Listen, I get it. But in absence of actual peer-reviewed research, anything else that you report to the contrary is just anecdotal information. And so a particular individual started basically attacking me, saying that I don't know what I'm talking about and all that. And I'm like, well, okay, you can say that I don't know what I'm talking about, but here's the actual research and here's what the research says. You know, and again, them talking about all of this, information that they were told by somebody else about how effective Lenire is just was not true based off of any of the 10 clinical trials that were done by Lenire. Now, if you didn't get a chance to actually go and review all of those research studies, I will link them in the description below so you can read them for yourself. Like, don't even take my word for it. Go and read the research yourself and come to your own conclusions about whether Lenire is effective or not. For instance, these clinical trials were very well performed, meaning that they had controls inside of them, even if it was a single arm control instead of a double-blind placebo control that everybody apparently thinks is the only way that you can run a control on an actual clinical trial. And they had a lot of participants inside of these clinical trials, and a lot of these participants that actually went through the entire clinical trial. And now we're even starting to see validation studies come out that are not quite peer-reviewed yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing some other peer-reviewed studies that are done without any influence of Neuromod, which is the company that developed Lenire. Now, I know that there's a lot of you who have some kind of inherent bias against the FDA, but let's face it, the FDA does have some really good researchers at it, even if you don't like, the political side of the FDA, or even if you think that something was approved that should not have been approved, or something that should have been approved didn't get approved. But again, like, don't even trust the FDA if you don't want to. Go and actually read the research, see how they controlled for the research, and then make the determination on your own whether or not a device like Lenire is actually effective. I've also heard some people say that Lenire is not effective, but Susan Shore's tinnitus treatment device is effective. And I'm like, well, that's funny because both of them use bimodal neuromodulation. So whatever your bias is into believing that one is better than the other, it is not backed by research. Now here's the thing, even if the research was perfect, you cannot have the expectation that a certain type of medical treatment, whether it's Lenire, whether it's a pharmaceutical drug, whether it's a type of surgery that's being done, you cannot expect that that treatment would be 100% successful for everybody who uses the treatment. On top of that, you would also expect that certain individuals who do not account for all of the different variables of their tinnitus, that they would get help by just using bimodal neuromodulation. There are other variables inside of your lifestyle that can have a significant negative impact on your overall tinnitus. So you can't just go and get a Lenire device from any old tinnitus provider. You have to get it from a tinnitus provider that actually knows what they're doing, knows how to counsel you properly, knows how to control for the other variables in your life if you want to get optimal success with Lenire. So you're probably wondering how this conversation ended. Well, it basically ended by this other individual completely deleting all of their comments on the thread that we were on because I was just pointing out the factual information, pointing out the research. And when this individual went through and read all of this research, I believe that they're like, oh man, I am completely contradicting myself throughout all of their comments, and they ended up deleting them. And so now you have a bunch of non-contextual comments from me on there because all of the comments that I was responding to were completely deleted. Now, yes, it does give me some level of satisfaction knowing that I probably helped this person kind of question their perspective and their opinions and their biases with proposing research to them, but ultimately I don't know, and maybe I shouldn't garner any satisfaction from winning an online debate, but there's a saying that goes like this: when you argue with dumb people on the internet, they bring you down to their level and they beat you with experience. So now I'm thinking, like, am I the dumb person who just brought that person down to my level and I beat them with experience of being dumb? Honestly, the answer to that's probably yes. The moral of the story is this: if there is some kind of treatment out there for tinnitus or even hearing loss for that matter, you cannot let outside voices dictate what you believe. You cannot let your own internal biases dictate what you believe. Let the research guide you into a more factual opinion. I have changed my opinions numerous times over the course of the years because new research has come out to actually shift my opinion. You have to trust the research when it comes out, and then when new research comes out that refutes that research, that's totally fine. But do not let your own innate biases prevent you from getting the help that you deserve when it comes to tinnitus treatment.